Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing you another audio commentary. This time I'm commentating on Xellos versus 910 from Clan MBC, and this match is being played on the map Python. And I really am starting to fall in love with this map. Every single game on this map has been fast and exciting. And aggressive, and hopefully we see no different this time around. Once again, you can see the players are starting up in close proximity to each other. Xellos in the brown at the 6:30 position, and 910 in blue at the 8 o'clock position. So again, I suppose that means lots of drops will come into play. It also allows for possible rushes if someone decides to cheese. So it'll be interesting to see what these players go for. I definitely don't expect to see a fast expand. I think if a player fast expands, he's likely to lose if he goes for 14cc. But from what I've seen thus far, that would be a very risky strategy on this map. Xellos, as I said before, this MSL, this season seems to be the season of the comebacks of the greats, and Xellos is again one of the players who did have a period of time where he was dominating. There was actually a documentary made on him during the World Cyber Games by the National Geographic Channel, which was very interesting to watch, and one of the things that got me into Starcraft originally a long time ago. So I'm definitely looking forward to see if he is back in form as well. He's had a relatively easy route through his group to this stage thus far, so he hasn't really been tested. I mean, Goodfriend really isn't exactly in the best shape right now. 910 is relatively unproven. He does hail from MBC, and I don't think I've really seen many weak players in the MBC squad. So I'm not really sure what to expect from 910. See really how well he performs. This is going to be his first real test against a good player, so it'll be interesting to see if Xellos too, like Wk1.2 and is going to find his form back. So it looks for the moment as if both players are going for very similar strategies, barracks and refineries. So I have a feeling they're probably both going to set up their factory next, and we're going to end up seeing probably a pretty similar type of game, maybe like the one we saw between Wk1.2 and Firebat Hero, though I doubt it will be anything near as epic. Xellos finally now scouting, and he's scouting clockwise, and he's scouting in the right direction, so he's going to find 910's base quite comfortably. 910 is only now sending his SCV out, and he's actually sending his SCV out in the right direction. So he's gonna see Xellos' SCV and know what Xellos is up to. And Xellos, as anticipated, making that factory. I suppose the question again here is whether the players will go for a double factory, or will they try to go for one factory then expansion, or whether they will go for a factory starport. Definitely, we have seen that before, that an expansion is vital if the game goes on any longer. And in the previous game, both OOV and Firebat Hero did put down expansions. So I'm not sure what these guys will go for here. Interesting hair color there with 910. And 910 actually not able to scout Xellos' base. Very interesting enough, Xellos has blocked him on his ramp, and 910 hasn't been able to scout because of the Marines on that ramp. And Xellos just about ready to finish his factory now. And he probably needs to float his barracks up now and float it over to towards 910's base, but he's continuing to produce Marines. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure why he's doing that. I guess it's because he's going straight for the machine shop, so that makes sense. Xellos has gone straight for the machine shop, so he's going straight for siege tech and for siege tanks, whereas 910 is going for a factory and starport. So this could be very interesting here, because Xellos, even though he has a few Marines, he's going straight for siege tanks. That means, and because the bases are so close together, that those rates are going to get across very quickly. And even though Xellos is producing a few Marines, they're not going to be able to do much against technology, against Wraith technology. And also the fact that 910 has not gone for a machine shop. He's continuing to produce vultures, so that means that we could have a rush on here. We could have an early attack from 910. And oh my god, Xellos is going for a command center, and this might prove disastrous for Xellos, because Xellos has just invented in the command center. There's no way he's going to have an armory up, so I'm not sure, and he's definitely not building an engineering bay, so I'm not sure what he's going to try and combat those raids with, and with the help of that raid, I don't think Xellos' siege tank is going to be effective. And now 910 rushing up the ramp towards Xellos. Xellos only has 4 Marines, 910 has 3 Marines and 2 vultures, so even with the height advantages, Xellos' tank pops out just in time. Xellos' tank is out just in time, and he should be able to stave off that attack from 910. 910 manages to sneak the vulture through, but he definitely does not have spider mines, so he did not go for a machine shop. And 910 tries to hurt the economy of Xellos, but he does so unsuccessfully. But 910 has that first rate out. Xellos has absolutely nothing to defend against that. He just has a single factory, and the 910's rate now floating around, and I think he's going to probably try and hurt Xellos' economy. Xellos must start an armory very quickly. There's no way he can start an engineering bay now. He might try to go for both. I think that decision to go for the command center to expand is going to end up costing Xellos, because 910 has gone for a kind of vulture wraith rush. Xellos does have a couple of tanks. I think probably the best thing for Xellos to do right now would be to leave his base and send those tanks out towards 910's base and force him to defend and force him to pull his wraith backs, because otherwise 910 is going to just devastate Xellos' economy. 910 not building a control tower, he's not going for stealth, he's just continuing to pump those wraiths out, and he's also planted his barracks down in the middle of Xellos' base, so he's probably going to try and produce some marines there to support those wraiths. Xellos now building a second factory, trying to complete that armory. Those wraiths focusing on the SCVs that build that army. Xellos now with his tanks heading towards 910's base, and maybe Xellos can pull off a victory here with the tanks in 910's base, because 910 doesn't have much to combat against those tanks. 910 has one tank of his own, but Xellos has two tanks. He does have the height advantage, and he's trying to repair his tank with those SCVs. He's using 4 SCVs to repair it, and 910, oh my god, that's brilliant. He's actually using those SCVs to repair his tank, and he's going to actually successfully hold off Xellos' push, 2-tank push here, and he's not going to need to pull back those wraiths. I'm not sure if Xellos has completed their army there. It certainly looked like it is complete, and Xellos should have Goliaths popping out any second now. 910 still trying to kill off those SCVs. I think he should try and focus on the gas SCVs as well. Xellos has got his expansion up, so he's not going to be too worried about losing a few SCVs, because he can continue to produce more, but he's already lost a few to those raids. And finally, a Goliath is up for Xellos. So usually when a Goliath comes out, unless you've got cloaking technology, that's the end of your push. And I think this is actually going to spell victory for Xellos, because Xellos has had that factory and machine shop up, and he's got a second factory up now. He's got Goliaths to defend against the raids. There is no cloaking technology, which is going to mean that 910's raids are going to become ineffective, and Xellos is going to be ahead economically because of his expansion. So I guess I was wrong in saying that the game might end in curtains for Xellos. It's not going to. It looks like Xellos is the one now with the advantage, because Xellos has a superior economy. 910 now getting cloaking technology and trying to get cloaks for those raids so that he can hurt Xellos. Xellos probably needs to put an academy up, make sure he can counter those cloaked raids when and if they do cloak. Xellos did take okay. He does have an academy up, so he's going to have his comsat station up pretty quickly. So Xellos now pumping SCVs from 2 command centers, and he's going to have a significant advantage. 910 just setting up those tanks around his base. He only has a single factory, so once Xellos really starts producing units, 910 could find himself in deep trouble. The only problem is that 910 can force Xellos to stay around his base with those raids, and you can see here, and the cloaking technology is actually finished now, so 910 harassing Xellos' economy once again, but Xellos should have the necessary to deal with that, because he's going to finish his 2 comsats. Again, the fact that he has two command centers is going to help him greatly in this regard. And 910 has got his first dropship out, so that's going to allow him to drop much, but he doesn't really have a lot of units to effectively drop in Xellos' base without exposing himself to risk of a crippling counter. But he is doing a good job of keeping Xellos busy. Xellos now with the comsat, and 910 trying to micro those raids around, trying to make Xellos waste the comsat scan so that he can continue to pick off those SCVs. And he does continue to hurt Xellos' economy. And Xellos doesn't seem to have many SCVs left at his main there, and he must have moved them to the expansion, or I find it hard to believe that those 2 raids have picked up all of Xellos' SCV. Finally, Xellos gets enough energy for another comsat scan, and both those raids gets destroyed. So 910's raids doing some damage, but I'm not sure if that damage is going to be enough in the long run. And 910 now is starting off another expansion of his own, and this seems to be very safe to me. He has got a few tanks though. He's got about 4 tanks, and he's got about 4 or 5 tanks, so he's just been pumping tanks from that, and he's just setting them up in a defensive posture. Xellos, now having dealt with those raids, has finally decided that it's his turn to push, it's his turn to pressure 910, but he has left his base relatively undefended. He knows that 910 has a control tower, which means that 910 does have dropships, and so 910 could potentially drop Xellos' base again. 910 continuing to harass Xellos with those raids, but Xellos now finally taking out the last raid. Xellos does have tanks as well as Goliaths, but as expected, here comes a drop from 910. Xellos has taken all his units out towards 910's base. He's got nothing left. His economy has already been hurt by those raids, and he's now forced to use his SCVs to try and combat those tanks. He's already lost a few of these SCVs. Wondering if he's going to kill those tanks. He's not going to be able to kill those tanks. 910 unsieges those tanks very quickly, and he's taking out those SCVs of Xellos. And Xellos, Xellos calls it quits. Oh my god, Xellos has actually said GG. Xellos gave up very, very quickly there. That was an interesting game. 9-1-0 pressuring Xellos right from the get-go. Xellos leaving no defense in his base, going for the push, and I think that was the mistake. I think Xellos should have tried to press on with an economical advantage from those two command centers, and he didn't do that, so GG.